Has AAA bubble just burst? Let's take a look. This is by Upper Echelon.
This video is brought to you by Incogni. Stick around to hear more about the special offer they're providing to the entire Upper Echelon community. All right, so for years now, like 7 or 8 years actually, I've complained about the relative
I believe
quality
this game's already
standards for
close, right?
AAA gaming across many different genres. But today, after a series of high-profile failures, stock price fluctuations, revenue downgrades, and now a very interesting analyst report about the state of video games in 2025, I want to make the argument that the quality isn't just bad, with major publishers chasing all the wrong trends. I want to make a case that the bubble itself has actually burst. It's a prediction, obviously, and I could be wrong, of course, but my view is that the overarching trends of the AAA video game market have finally reached a sort of inflection point where the unsustainable nature of their choices are now fully untenable. The way that these companies develop, market, and release major franchise titles no longer works, and the severity of failure that we see from major industry players will either dramatically increase or the entire ethos of their publishing structure will necessarily change. To make the case, I'm going
I guess it kind of makes sense. Like so many things that the developers are doing, especially in 2024 and like a couple years before, with like a Veilguard, with Kill the Justice League. So many like games focus on either live action, which no one cares about, or they do something really weird with the character designs, or they alienate their player base. By the way, just right away being like, "Yep, you don't like it, don't buy it," etc. Oh, but then the game underperforms. They're like, "Oh shit, never mind. Why are the games not buying our game? Oh, sorry, why are the gamers not buying our game?" Um, Kind of a weird times we live in, but this in fact does bring light to the AA games, indie games, which have been popping off left and right. We have Balatro, we have like these are older games, but like Hollow Knight, a lot of games that are like even Helldivers is not $60. It's I believe it's $40. So a lot of games are popping up that are less than $60 that are amazing and definitely worth buying. When compared to this game, for example, where it was a buggy mess and you had to pay $60 for it, or like $100 for the premium edition, or what is it called? Collector's edition, digital deluxe, whatever it is. Basically, complete edition. Sorry, I think that's the case. It's usually like $60 for regular, $80 for deluxe, digital deluxe, and then 100 or $120 for the one that includes a season pass. So yeah, it's such a not worth of a deal to do this. Kind of crazy. I don't know why the companies just expect people to keep buying it, but I guess only time will tell what they'll think about it, if they actually make the right choices and if they're actually, you know, change the course, or if not, they're just gonna die out. That's the beauty of capitalism. If you don't do what the market says, if you don't follow the trends, etc., then someone's gonna replace you. All right. Anyways, let's keep going.
I'm going to use
Let's hear
roughly
his
5 different primary examples spread across
his
4
examples.
different major publishers, those being Sony, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers, and EA, Electronic Arts, concluding with a hilariously out-of-touch analyst report indicating that what game makers appear to be hoping for is a normalization of higher price tags in an industry where the
Yeah, I don't know
product
about
that you
that.
get isn't even a product, often gets shut down, and
Oh yeah. Also, once these games come out, they're actually not full games. They're like huge bugs, like messes, bugs, performance issues, etc. And then the actual game with patches and everything comes out like roughly like 6 months to a year later, where it's actually more or less complete. But you still pay the first price 6 to 12 months before, so definitely not worth it, at least in my opinion.
never deserved the price tag it had in the first place. In
Mm.
summary, the AAA video game industry bubble has popped, in my view. Let's start with this: Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I've talked
Mm-hmm.
about this one before,
What a
so I'll
game.
be quick here. But Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is an abject live service failure. Developed by Rocksteady under Warner Brothers as their publisher, the game utilized extremely well known brand IP, which is a bit of a theme for the video. However,
Mm-hmm.
the final product was completely uninteresting. In
Mm-hmm.
terms of player traction, the game was an abject failure. And
It's kind of weird how they are. I believe the bosses that they have is just like powers of the different superhero, and they're not really that creative. From what I heard, I haven't played the game myself. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna buy this game, but it's kind of interesting.
it wasn't
That's all.
long until Rocksteady announced that there would be no more future content ever developed. Keep in
Yeah, I think
mind, the
they're
whole
closing
point of a live service
after
game
season 4.
is the future content, because major publishers identified that a season pass kind of structure allowed them better ongoing monetization. That is,
Yep.
better monetization if you have a player base.
Exactly. So they can milk their player base for like a year or two like, with different games, and then I think people get kind of tired of it and they stop buying your games. So if you get a lot of money in the beginning, you think, oh yeah, my strategy works. Let's keep doing those games. Let's keep hashing them out. But unfortunately, a couple of years later, people are like, nope, seen that, done that, not gonna do it. At least I hope people are more people are doing that. It seems like they are.
For
Yes.
Suicide Squad, there was no player base, which led to the game being directly cited in the Warner Brothers first quarter 2024 earnings call as a primary factor behind a $200 million revenue drop for the company compared to 1 year prior.
Kind of
I'm
crazy.
not entirely sure how much the game originally cost to make, but whatever the development price tag
Wasn't it
was,
like 200
it
mil?
was an example of shipping something that the players do not want. What's next?
Exactly.
Well, next I want to talk about Ubisoft because Ubisoft is probably the best example you could
AC
possibly ask for when it
Shadows.
comes to failure
Dun, dun,
in
dun,
all of video game publishing.
dun.
Setting aside the fact that the company's stock price has declined by like 90% since 2021 highs, and brushing
Freaking
past the
crazy.
part where they release blatantly mediocre products like Skull and Bones, with the sheer hubris to then say it's some sort of quadruple
Oh, quadruple A game,
game,
yes.
Ubisoft has had a different
This is a
project
crazy
as well
take.
called X Defiant. X Defiant,
I
a
believe
first
that one
person
also
shooter that
closed.
blends all sorts of different Ubisoft intellectual property together under one roof, wasn't
Mhm.
even all that bad. But as a live service arena shooter,
I think the only Ubisoft game that is currently popular or like good is the Rainbow Six Siege, right? I'm not sure about its player base. I haven't played in like 2-3 years at least. And then maybe Ghost Wild Recon, oh, Ghost Recon Wildlands. Sorry, that one's fairly good. I heard, but I'm not sure if a lot of people play it. So
it was also just more of the same. It had players, sure, some of them, but not enough, at least not for
mhm.
Ubisoft. So in December of 2024, the announcement came through X Defiant would be
They're closing it.
discontinued from development. Now, remember, one of the bedrock defenses that publishers have often relied on for years now, justifying why it's okay to release broken, unfinished products that lack any sort of innovative or deserving content for the initial price tag, unless they're free to play, is because live service apparently means you'll get more later on. But what happens if later never comes? Hopefully,
I
the
also pay full
pattern is
price now.
beginning to emerge. If it isn't, don't worry, because there's plenty more examples to draw from, such as Concord. Now, as a
Oh
side note
yeah,
here, some people like to make broad
Concord, let's
sweeping
go.
accusations that some or all of these games failed because they're, quote, woke, unquote. But for me, that seems like a bit of a self serving exaggeration in a lot of cases.
I mean, I
Maybe
think the
that
game
was a
failed for
factor for
multiple
some
reasons, no?
people, but these games failed because they didn't provide anything worth playing. They weren't
Hmm.
necessarily bad games, but tell me why someone should play the game in the background right now when Overwatch exists, or
Or Marvel
Deadlock, or
Rivals.
Valorant, or any number of other hero shooter type games. You
Mm-hmm.
can't, because it doesn't bring anything valuable to the table. The thing is, that wouldn't necessarily matter if Concord wasn't a $100 million product
Wait,
that
I heard it's
supposedly took
$400 million.
years to make and just a few weeks.
I heard it was 200 million for the current iteration, and also 200 millions before as well. Um, like over the last 8 years, they were like they were thinking about the game, and then they canceled it, or they're changing the direction, but they already had money in it. So yeah,
Weeks after it finally came out, the game gets shut down because
what do you mean
Sony
though? It
had
could be.
made a product
Oh.
that the market didn't want yet again, and thus it was an unmitigated failure. Again, a lot of people like to claim that Concord failed because of contemporary politics, but for me, it just seems more
I think
like the
it's a
wrong
part to
product
play
at
in
the
it.
wrong
No.
time, which is kind of becoming a trend in the live service.
Yeah, and also all these hero shooters and stuff that were popular like well, I mean, I guess 2 to 3 years ago at least. And after like if something, let's say if Overwatch 1 comes out, people are like, oh yeah, it looks cool. We should make something like this. This is really popular now. But it takes a company like exactly like 2, 3 years, 4 years, sometimes to make this game. By the time it comes out, the trend have changed, right? How there's like so many extraction shooters, like there's PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Fortnite, etc. By the time more of those types of games came out, like that whole trend was over. Most people were not interested in it. So it's kind of you can't really predict what's gonna happen. You just have to like keep making good games and hope for the best, I'd say. But that's just my opinion.
Industry. Did somebody say data? Speaking of data, which is the new gold, Today's video is made possible by...
Also, I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm a little bit sick right now. However, not been feeling too well, so my voice may be a little bit different from other videos. So very sorry about that.
Incogni, which is an online privacy and data protection service. Everybody wants your data, and to be brutally honest right now, pretty much everybody already has it. It's worth money, obviously. They sell it, they train machine learning models on it, and the result is that you suffer from the downstream impacts of whatever they decide to do with it, like spam phone calls, emails, junk mail, or text messages that become extremely common if your phone number, for example, gets sold out to a list of telemarketing companies. Most people are completely careless with their information, such as agreeing immediately when faced with data sharing policies on various websites or click-through agreements, but for everyday users, it's...
Yeah, I usually just click decline all, or like for cookies it says like decline or only accept the required ones.
Not really possible to fight back once it happens, and it does happen. There are hundreds of these data brokers. Luckily, Incogni is designed to help you with this. I've used it myself, I paid for the service, as I do with all channel sponsors. As a result, I'm happy to recommend them. The process is very easy. Sign up for the website, give them legal permission to work on your behalf, and let them know what specific information they'll be having removed. After that, they go to work, and that's it. Aggregating the service lets them streamline the process, and you'll see results pretty much immediately. Less data brokers and third-party marketing companies selling your information means less junk mail, spam, text messages, phone calls, and a host of other issues that come with big businesses that you don't know about, and they don't care about you having and monetizing your personal information. Using the link down below in the description and code Echelon at checkout, you can get 60% off an annual subscription to Incogni.
60% off.
Link down below and promo code Echelon for 60% off your subscription. Right, big thank you to Incogni for sponsoring the channel. Back to it. What comes next?
Well, my next is an interesting... Is am I the only one? Like the game... The game seems like it's like 360 or 480p versus my screen is 1080p. What's a little blurry.
One from Electronic Arts, this time called Dragon Age: The Veilguard, because this is where I want to talk about
how bad it was.
Goals. Dragon Age Veilguard, in my opinion at least, is just a straight up bad game. It's a betrayal of the original Dragon Age atmosphere. It's boring, it's arcadey, it's super cringe all the way through, and it's just not worth playing. However, the game apparently sold 1.5 million copies. According to the preliminary third quarter financials published by EA themselves, the game, quote, engaged approximately 1.5 million players during the quarter, down nearly 50% from the company's expectations, end quote, which contributed to a downward revision of their...
I wonder if these, I mean, still 1.5 million players is a lot. You multiply it by the $60, so that will be like $90 million-ish. You take off the Steam stuff and 30% off for the publisher, so you go back to roughly basically 60, well, I guess a little more like $70 million for this game. That's kind of crazy. Well, I'm glad that their supporters are supporting them, but might not be good for the gaming industry altogether.
Their revenue targets, which in turn led to a massive decrease in their share price. Here's the kicker. Dragon Age Veilguard isn't a live service product. It's purely single player. But it used to be a live service, getting rebooted in 2021, 6 years after development started, as if you could possibly waste any more resources on a title like this, because EA got cold feet. That's a big deal, at least in my opinion, because pretty much everyone who played or especially reviewed the game commented on the fact that it still kind of felt like a live service, which leaves us in a really odd situation where 1.5 million players is somehow colossally disappointing. In a vacuum, 1.5 million sales of practically anything would be amazing. But when you spend 9 years making it, essentially making it twice at that, if you think about the reboot, and God knows how much more on just a bloated marketing budget, suddenly an objectively successful product by itself becomes an alarming failure after wasting however many tens or hundreds of millions of dollars making it. It's funny, or sad maybe, because not all studios are equal in this regard. Despite what I may think of Naughty Dog on a personal level, in 2023, they actually canceled a live service project called Last of Us Online. To be completely honest, that's one of the few live service products out there that I would have wanted to see completed. But the point is, they rightly identified that allocating all of their resources to this one project would probably lead to disaster. From their official announcement, quote, in ramping up to full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear. To release and support The Last of Us Online, we'd have to put all of our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come,
Makes sense.
severely impacting development on future single player games. So we had
I think it'll be easier for them to keep doing the single player games because they're known for that. And if especially like Last of Us Online flops, which it might, um, then like they'll lose everything. Versus if they keep doing the single player games, they might have a bit better chance. Although The Last of Us 2 had a lot of controversies surrounding it, so I'm not quite sure how popular it will be still.
two
But
paths in front of us:
anyways,
become a solely live service game
but I
studio,
do agree with
or
their
continue to
decisions.
focus
Like
on
you
single
have to
player
choose
narrative
one.
games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. End quote. Like it or not, that is extremely self aware, especially when
Hmm.
you consider the fact that live service game failures have been outright crippling development studios
Yeah, you
left
see
and
them left
right
and
for the
right
past
right
couple of
now.
years. But let's tie everything together now, because the exact tipping point where live services become a liability rather than a predictable payday
Yeah, for some reason it's
is
like
the exact point in
low
time where the
resolution.
AAA video game bubble officially popped. Why do I say that? Well, honestly, it's actually very simple. Anyone who pays attention to the mainstream video game market has likely felt the animosity building. Players
Mm-hmm.
are sick of the format. Selling
Uh-huh,
something
uh-huh.
shitty and promising to fix it later just isn't a respectable business model. But
Mm-hmm.
even more importantly, selling something for $60 or $70 and then selling $80 or $100 worth of season passes and
Uh-huh,
micro
uh-huh.
DLC and premium currency as you slowly drag your feet and sort of make it a good product over the
Yep,
span of 2 years, that's not any better at all. Compounding
it's
that
not worth it.
problem is that these bloated, greedy companies have been monetizing so effectively with that strategy, their baseline profit levels are now completely unrealistic.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Live services became effectively ubiquitous in the AAA video game market, and they've been making a whole lot more money releasing unfinished trash than they used to make when they were focusing on legitimate, deserving, and fully finished games.
But yeah, that is the issue though. Live service makes so much money with way less, or maybe not way less, but like less effort that it doesn't make sense to make money because the video companies are there to make profit now. I mean, they're always there to make profit, but some companies are there to like push a good product, push their vision, and see if people like it. And like, let's say Baldur's Gate 3, etc. Um, People don't mind that, but the issue is that basically there's so many live action like live service games popping out now that it's just people are tired, people don't want it, people just want good games, and a lot of live like what was it live service games are just not good games, to be frank. You're just cashing like a milking cows, cashing cows, whatever English.
Now for the capstone, though. According to a report from Echelon by Matthew Ball, which is an investment and strategic advisory service, I guess,
Okay.
all the way down on page 216, I think, of the
Holy.
presentation, we find this quote: In 2025, GTA 6's impact on industry playtime and spend will be mixed as it launches console only and severely cannibalizes hours/spend on other titles. Further down,
Wait,
but some
GTA
game
6 is only going to be console only? Really? Wait. Am I wrong? Wait. GTA Online exclusive console exclusive enhanced editions finally coming to PC. Sorry, GTA 6. No, it says okay simultaneously on Xbox, PlayStation, and Xbox. I was a little bit confused about that. Interesting. Okay.
game makers hope
Oh yeah, now they're talking about how GTA 6 might be like $100 because the development cost is like $1 billion or something like it. It's kind of crazy. I'm not sure if people will buy it because like imagine paying $100 for a game, and hopefully it's gonna be like if it's super polished and it's the best game ever, maybe people will do it. Um, but as like a regular Joe, you just like work, you know, study, would do whatever. Paying $100 for a game is just kind of like a lot. You could spend that money on like electricity bills, whatever else, and instead you spend it on a game that maybe hopefully gives you like at least like 60 to 100 hours into gameplay. So it would be like $1 an hour. At least that's how I kind of for a lot of games. But I guess we'll see. And then yeah, they're talking about how like right here, it will move like breaking the $70 barrier will help people charge more money for the games. So I'm kind of looking to see who's gonna be the first company that's gonna start charging $80 now instead of $70 for like it was $60, then it was $70 for like PS5 games and companies just started charging $70. And yeah, who's going to be the first company to break $80?
Hope GTA
Other than
6
GTA, of course, but we'll see.
will be priced at $80 to
What do you guys
$100,
think about it though?
breaking the
What's going
$70
to be the company?
barrier and helping
EA,
$50
Ubisoft?
titles move up to 60, 60 to do 70, 70 to 80, etc. End quote. He goes on to talk about how prices have never been lower in real terms than they are today. There's a reason for that, and they should be this low because when you make the shift from physical to digital and then you go to
Yeah,
your own
you don't spend
proprietary
money.
storefront and you harvest more of the revenue, you're basically earning more despite the fact that there's
Yep,
inflation. So there's no excuse for raising the prices of video games, is what I'm saying. But
yep.
that's a whole separate video I've done in the past. Anyway, I find this to be a perfect indication that the bubble has already popped. See, GTA 6 costing $100 in a vacuum
Mm-hmm.
is most likely perfectly fine. A game of that scale with the track record that Rockstar has,
Yeah.
GTA 5, Red Dead 2, etc. Yeah, $100 might just be pennies per hour of entertainment, beating out most, if not all, other contemporary releases.
Mm-hmm.
However, the broader market, yeah, they do not deserve that money.
Yep.
Major gaming
Exactly.
publishers have been releasing absolute garbage, often so bad it gets canceled, recalled, or shelved within months, as
Mm-hmm.
they over monetize that garbage. And when faced with a situation where the business model of live service is faltering, raising the prices on your customers to make up the
It's not gonna
shortfall
help.
of your own habitual failure
Yep.
isn't the solution. It's like the Titanic, but imagine if the captain grabbed the wheel and just steered it full tilt right into the iceberg because he's too stupid to realize that the ice doesn't give a shit how fancy the rich people's boat is. The
Mm.
AAA gaming bubble already popped because they've been squeezing their audience with scumbag tactics and trash tier products for
Yep.
years with no backup plan. Remember,
Yep.
there's
Yep.
an
Yep.
imperative here from the shareholders that they continue to make more money every single quarter like clockwork without fail. More, never less, not even the same, has to be more
Mm-hmm.
or it's failure.
Yep.
And if they don't
Exactly.
do that, they get removed as leadership, right? That's when you see the CEO get purged or a new CTO or whatever, right? The board of directors becomes unhappy. But
Mm-hmm.
what happens when you
Yes,
can't
it's always
make more
profits,
money?
as I said before.
Because no one wants what you're making, and what you were making was already so hyper calibrated to steal as much as you could get from the customers without deserving that money because you didn't make something that actually deserved the price tag.
Mm-hmm.
No version of reputable game ever will make up the difference to that. That's how a bubble pops, obviously, because you can't go up anymore. You destroyed your own credibility to a degree where you can only go down.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's
That makes
felt
sense.
what I'm talking about here, if we're totally honest with each other. Games are just shit nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's
Most of them are.
highlights, good ones here and there, and indie games that go above and beyond. Absolutely, for sure. But the
But my eyes hurt
AAA
when I'm
video
looking at
game
this
market
gameplay
is
because
rightfully
it's
falling
so low
apart, in
quality.
my view,
Especially I have a
because
4K screen,
they
so
just
it's
don't
really
do
bad.
good work anymore.
It's like
They
480p
got
or
lazy,
even like
they got
360p
greedy,
for
they
me.
prioritize marketing and live service products above innovation, and it's completely disconnected. It's a bunch of people in suits that think like, "Oh, if we change the price tag, it's going to fix the problem where we're only getting 1.5 million copies sold." No.
Mm-hmm.
Make a good game. Don't make cartoony arcadey garbage that betrays the franchise history. Like,
Yep.
stop. It's insane to me.
Stop it.
Eventually, the
Get some
cycle
help.
comes crashing down on their heads, which I believe is now imminently happening, especially if they try to raise the prices. That is the most comedic thing about all of this. Raising
It'll be very
prices
interesting
on
to
the
see
same
what's gonna
live
happen.
service slop that the community is already openly rejecting doesn't save your business. It accelerates the pop of the bubble, which I think is here, and I'm not even slightly sad about it. Major publishers years ago, many years ago, identified that they could sell half finished bullshit and monetize
Mm-hmm.
it every step of the way. Over
Yep. Yep.
time, people got sick of it. The market is crowded, the innovation is gone, and people are now much more risk averse when it comes to buying something that might, with big air quotes, get better over time.
Yep. Yep.
Customer
Wait for
mentality
reviews. Wait
changes. It's
for
an ebb and flow,
for it
right?
to be
There's
actually
tides
good.
there.
Then buy it.
But what does not change are the greedy expectations of publishing companies, leaving them in a situation of their own design, by the way,
Mm.
where they can't make the money that they're expected to make, which leads, inexorably, to a crash. The AAA gaming bubble, as a result of live service fixation, has popped. That's it. If you want to support
Yep.
the channel, check out the links
Yes,
down
that makes
below.
sense.
Video sponsor, of course, Incogni, Locals, and Patreon for monthly subscriptions, channel memberships,
Mm.
merchandise, etc., etc., a whole bunch of stuff. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, Thank you all for watching. Question everything, and have a nice night.
So, what do you guys think? This is a video by Upper Echelon 10 days ago. I would kind of agree in a lot of the opinions. A lot of people, a lot less people, gamers are accepting like trashy products. Of course, there's some exceptions. There's, I think, what is it, Madden, that keeps coming up with the amazing innovation, amazing games. You can see my quotation, but they're there. If people still keep buying it, and it like gives like billions of dollars, I believe, right? Was it like $1 or $2 billion for the Madden series or something like that every year? It's kind of crazy. But I think with like Ubisoft and EA, a lot of people are being way more cautious now, which is a good thing. So I see what's gonna come out of it. So let me know what you think about it. Are you gonna buy any new AAA games? What are you thinking about them? Are you gonna wait until do you usually wait until they come out to see like reviews and such? Are you a sucker for the pre-order bonuses, which are super often now? Let me know. All right, that was it. See you guys. Bye.